And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, Live 365 Radio, MyCast Live Radio from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and I'm on 405 Media Radio from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get the emails that I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. You can dial directly into the studio at area code 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is Sean Lefebvre talking to me about, well, all the current events of the day. We'll see what goes on. And my special guest, Dr. Stephen Tidwell, talking about tomorrow's dentistry today. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. You know, at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently, get this, 104 degrees in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's on its way down to 73, and I can't wait for that to happen. I mean, that'll be a nice thing, right? If you start thinking about it. But I promised you the news, and so you know what? Let's get right to it. You know, first up, this came in 1 hour ago. Kerry calls for democracy as U.S. flag is raised in Cuba. Jubilant crowds waved American flags and chanted, "Long live the United States," as the Stars and Stripes rose over the newly reopened U.S. Embassy in Cuba today after a half-century of often hostile relations. Secretary of State John Kerry celebrated the day, but also made an extraordinary nationally broadcast call for democratic change on the island. Hundreds of Cubans mixed with American tourists outside the former U.S. interest section, newly emblazoned with the letters, Embassy of the United States of America. They cheered as Kerry spoke. The United States Army Brass Quintet played the Star-Spangled Banner, and U.S. Marines raised the flag alongside the building overlooking the famous Melicon Seaside Promenade. Meeting more than 54 years after the severing of diplomatic relations, Kerry and Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez set an early September date for the start of talks on full normalization of a relationship so long frozen in enmity. You know what? Not all the talk was all warm as the sunny summer day. Kerry and Rodriguez said their nations would continue to disagree over issues such as democracy and human rights, but they also said they hoped to make progress on issues ranging from maritime security and public health to the billions of dollars in dueling claims over confiscation of U.S. property and the U.S. economic embargo on the island. Well, we'll see what happens. Let's hope that this is the beginning of the end. That's certainly what we're all hoping for here, I think. Absolutely. Well, up next, an Associated Press exclusive, top secret Clinton emails include drone talk. Yep, heard me right. 2 hours ago, neither of the two emails sent to Hillary Rodham Clinton, now labeled as intelligence agencies as top secret, contained information that would jump out to experts as particularly sensitive, according to several government officials. One included a discussion of a U.S. drone strike, part of a covert program that is widely known and discussed. A second conversation could have improperly referred to highly classified material, but it also could have reflected information collected independently. U.S. officials have reviewed the correspondence, and they told the Associated Press. Still, it's looking increasingly likely the issue of whether Clinton mishandled classified information on her homebrew email server will have significant political implications in the 2016 presidential campaign. Clinton, who has been seen from the outset as the front-runner for the Democratic nomination, agreed this week to turn over to the FBI the private server that she used as Secretary of State, and Republicans in Congress have seized on the involvement of federal law enforcement in the matter as a sign she was negligent in handling the nation's secrets. Well, time will tell. They certainly aren't going to let this thing go to bed, that's for sure. So we'll get a lot more on this. Matter of fact, probably every day, if I'm right. Well, back to Greece again. 2 hours ago, Greece's Euro partners approve billions in new loans. Here's the story. Finance ministers of the 19-nation Euro single currency group today approved the first 26 billion euros, that's like $29 billion, of a vast new bailout package to help rebuild Greece's shattered economy. The approval came after Greece's parliament passed a slew of painful reforms and spending cuts after the marathon overnight session that divided the governing party, raising the specter of early elections. Of course, there were differences between there were differences, but we have managed to solve the last issues, Eurogroup Chairman Jeroen Dijsselbloem told reporters in Brussels. All the intense work of the past week has paid off. 10 billion euros will be available to recapitalize Greece banks, while a second slice of 16 billion euros will be paid in installments, starting with 13 billion euros by August the 20th, when Greece must make a new debt payment to the European Central Bank. On this basis, Greece is and will irreversibly remain a member of the euro area, said European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker after the deal was sealed. The final rescue package would eventually give Greece up to 86 billion euros, that's 93 billion US dollars, in loans over 3 years in exchange for harsh spending cuts and tax hikes. The deal must still be approved by some national parliaments, including Germany, but that is largely considered to be a formality. Some nations, such as Finland, have already given their approval. So, you know what? Time will tell. Let's hope that they actually stick with this deal. I look at Greece sometimes on these financial deals very much like I look at Iran with every deal. Greece doesn't seem to keep these things going, and their people don't seem to support their governments. Well, a U.S. attorney says evidence disputes allegation of a stolen baby. Recently, discovered medical files further dispute a St. Louis woman's allegations that her baby was stolen from a hospital here 5 decades ago, and a federal investigation into the matter has now been closed, a U.S. attorney said today. U.S. Attorney Richard Callahan said during a news conference that medical records show Melanie Diane Gilmore, who was named Diane Jackson at birth, was born at St. Louis City Hospital No. 1. That contradicts the story of Gilmore's mother, Zella Jackson Price, who alleged that Gilmore was stolen at birth from another St. Louis hospital, Homer G. Phillips, after she was told the child had died. We can now say with complete confidence that there is no truth to that allegation, and our investigation is now closed, Callahan said. Well, you know what? If they got the truth, isn't that what's the important part here? I certainly think so. Now, do not go away, because when we come back from these brief messages, we're going to talk about the Gulf eats away at the coast outside levee that's protected New Orleans. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. Let's get back to it. Gulf eats away at the coast outside a levee protected New Orleans. Rocky Morales is watching his small Louisiana town of Delacroix slowly melt into the water. The woods where he played hide-and-seek as a boy were gone. It's all water and mud back there now. So, too, is the nearby marsh where townsfolk once trapped for muskrat, otter, and mink. Many of the fishermen who once lived here, his friends and relatives, have disappeared as well, fleeing behind the levees protecting New Orleans out of fear one more hurricane will send the rest of Delacroix into the sea. 10 years after Hurricane Katrina ravaged the Gulf Coast, killing more than 1,830 people and causing more than $150 billion in damage in the nation's costliest disaster, New Orleans has been fortified by a new $14.5 billion flood protection system. But outside the iconic city, efforts have lagged to protect small towns and villages, losing land every year to erosion, and as that land buffer disappears, New Orleans itself becomes more vulnerable. In the past century, more than 1,880 square miles of Louisiana land has turned into open water, an area nearly the size of Delaware, and the loss continues with an average of 17 square miles disappearing every year, according to the U.S. Geological Survey. Cemeteries are disappearing into the Gulf. Entire barrier island chains, Andrew Jackson-era brick forts, Jean Lafitte's pirate colony, lighthouses, bridges, roads, schools, and entire towns have been washed away. We're losing the cultural fabric of South Louisiana, said Jessica, this is a tough one, Schlecksnyder, a researcher with the Louisiana State University Sea Grant Program. It's not just whether the land will disappear, it's about when it's going to be gone. Hurricanes speed up, and Morales, one of the few remaining fishermen living here, knows another Katrina could be the end of Delacroix. It will run us all inside the protection levees, the 51-year-old crabber and shrimper said from his perch on his 16-foot-high front porch. Neighboring homes stand either on massive stilts that lift them 2 stories above ground or sit on wheels that would let them flee before a new storm. Mud flats and open water extend into the horizon. All that was solid land. There weren't all these lakes, Morales said. Katrina tore it all up. Wow. You know what? I don't think I'd even heard that before. That's just dramatic, right? I think so. Well, the Islamic State leader raped an American hostage, the U.S. finds. This came in 26 minutes ago. American hostage Kyla Mueller was repeatedly forced to have sex with Abu Bakr Baghdadi, the leader of the Islamic State group's U.S. intelligence officials told her family in June. They told us that he married her, and we all understand what that means. Carl Mueller, Kyla's father, told the Associated Press on Friday, which would have been his daughter's 27th birthday. Her death was reported in February. Her mother, Marcia Mueller, added, Kyla did not marry this man. He took her to his room and he abused her, and she came back crying. The news is but the latest in a litany of horrors perpetrated by the Islamic State group, which has beheaded, burned, and crucified male captives while passing around women as sex slaves. Mueller was held for a time by Islamic State financier Abu Sayyaf and his wife known as Sayyaf. Al-Baghdadi took Mueller as his wife, repeatedly raping her when he visited, according to a Yazidi teenager who was held with Mueller and escaped in October of 2014. The 14-year-old made her way to Iraqi Kurdistan, where she talked to U.S. commandos in November of 2014. Intelligence agencies corroborated her account, and American officials passed it on to her parents in June. Boy, you know what? I don't think we're ever going to hear anything good about the Islamic State. You know why? There isn't anything good about the Islamic State. That's why. Well, here, 1 hour ago, slaying casts a pall on a plan to reduce solitary confinement from Sacramento, California. California's efforts to ease its famously harsh use of solitary confinement are clashing with a bloody reality after an inmate who spent decades alone in a tiny cell was sent back to the general population and killed by fellow inmates within days. Hugo Yogi Pinnell's repeated assaults on guards landed him in solitary confinement beginning in the early 1970s, making him one of the longest-serving solitary confinement inmates in the nation, said Karamet Reeder, a University of California Irvine professor of criminology who studies the issue. His involvement in a bloody 1971 San Quentin escape attempt that left 6 dead, including 3 guards, also helped spur the creation of super-maximum prisons like Pelican Bay State Prison, designed to isolate the most incorrigible and dangerous criminals and gang leaders, Reader said. More recently, the 45-year-old Pinnell spent in segregation, the 45 years Pinnell spent in segregation helped drive a national debate over the isolation of prisoners. The issue recently drew criticism from both President Barack Obama and U.S. Supreme Court Justice Anthony Kennedy. Pinnell's life behind bars traced the rise of extreme isolism as a prison management tool from its start to its recent decline, he said. The 71-year-old's death Wednesday in an exercise yard comes as California is trying to settle a federal lawsuit filed in 2009 by 2 killers who, like Pinnell, served time in the notorious Pelican Bay Security Housing Unit on California's north coast. You know what? How much time are we going to give that? They're both killers. They're both horrible guys, so they died. I'm ashamed to say I don't feel too bad about it. Well, 2 hours ago, UN rights experts to Iran immediately release U.S. reporter. UN human rights experts on Friday called on Iran to immediately release a Washington Post reporter who has been detained for more than a year on charges including espionage and distributing propaganda against the Islamic Republic. A verdict on Jason Rezan's case could come as early as next week. The statement says the detention and closed-door trial violate the Iranian-American reporter's rights and serve to intimidate other journalists in Iran. It says his solitary confinement and full-day interrogation sessions caused significant physical and psychological strain. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, can you guess? Yeah, it's the IRS loses, and you don't want to miss it. First case up is an ex-wife's theft of the husband's money saves him from her tax bill. And I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Okay, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. And you know what? Let's get right into it. And I want to remind you, coming up next is our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell talking about tomorrow's dentistry today. But right now, let's talk about this ex-wife's theft of a husband's money that saves him from her tax bill. You know, Robbie Gilbert owned and ran a business while his wife managed all of their personal accounts. When the couple fell behind on their taxes, Gilbert entered into an installment agreement with the IRS. They subsequently divorced, at which point he discovered that his wife had stolen the money that he had saved to pay the tax bill and fled. The IRS subsequently tried to hold him liable for his wife's taxes on their joint tax returns. They went to court, and this is what the judge said. You know, under the installment agreement, Gilbert had paid more tax than he owed as his share under the divorce decree. He had cooperated with the IRS, tried to pay the tax, and would have, but for his ex-wife's wrongdoing. So, equity requires that he be relieved of the liability for her taxes, and the IRS is ordered to go after her. That's the way it ought to be, that's the way it should be, and that's the way it is. Well, next case up, the IRS loses. A defense lawyer's mistakes set aside a verdict. Here's the case. Rudolfo Pasquale had lived as a legal immigrant in the United States since 1970. After the IRS examined his taxes, he pleaded guilty to filing 2 false tax returns for which he received probation after being told by his lawyer that it would not affect his immigration status. But the government then moved to deport him due to his plea. His new immigration lawyer then had him take a psychiatric exam that found he suffered from a severe mental illness that impaired his ability to help his own defense. So here's the thing. He went to court. This is what the judge said. Pasquale's tax lawyer had both falsely advised him and misrepresented to the court his mental competence to enter a plea. The tax verdict is set aside for a new trial. Exactly the way it should be. Now, this next case isn't one that the IRS lost. It's one that the IRS conceded. And you've heard me say many, many times, the IRS only concedes when they're pretty doggone sure they're going to lose. They won't prevail in court. Let me tell you about this one. It's about restitution for tax evasion cannot be collected by the IRS under the tax code. Sounds funny, right? Get this. An individual pleaded guilty to criminal tax evasion and was ordered to pay restitution as part of his sentence. Now, the IRS personnel asked if they could collect unpaid restitution through tax assessment. The IRS legal opinion? Restitution is a criminal case, is not a tax payment, but a sanction that includes the cost of such governmental expenses as incarceration and probation, supervision, that kind of stuff. Now, here's the thing. Restitution cannot be collected by the IRS through the tax system, even if it is for tax evasion, and the IRS applies it to a tax account. The response to non-payment must come through the criminal legal process. Just the way that it works, folks. You got to just know it. That's just the way it works. Well, you ever want to be a fly on the wall? That's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so these are not tax court cases, but these are decisions that the IRS has been made public, and you can actually use this in your own defense against the IRS if you do it properly. So let's talk about this first one. What are the chances of going to jail for tax fraud? You ever think about that? Well, according to the most recent IRS statistics, criminal tax charges were filed against only 1,036 people during the entire year of last year. Now, considering the millions of tax returns filed each year, the odds of actually going to jail for cheating the IRS are minuscule. But you got to be careful. The IRS, under the guidance of the current commissioner, plans to enhance its enforcement programs. More staff is going to be hired to conduct more audits. In past years, money that should have been devoted to increasing audit staff was diverted into computer modernization programs. And the reason they did that was to make it easier to catch you doing bad things so they could prosecute you. So they're spending this money on a scheduled basis. So don't think you're safe here. How about this? The good news from the IRS, if you're a member of a limited liability company, or an LLC, we call it. You know, an LLC is an entity created under state law. Now, it is classified as a partnership for federal income tax purposes unless the members elect corporate tax treatment. Now, the owners of an LLC, called members, are generally not personally liable for the company's debt, just like shareholders of a corporation. Until recently, there was some confusion at the IRS as to whether members of an LLC could be held personally liable for unpaid payroll taxes. The IRS has issued revenue ruling, which concludes that if the members of an LLC are not liable for the debts of the LLC under state law, then they will not be personally liable for unpaid payroll taxes. But you've got to be careful. If the LLC distributes cash or property to its members and owes the IRS payroll taxes, the IRS is going to go after the members personally for this stuff. So you want to be careful. You know what? You've heard me say it every day. I'm going to say it again. Always, always, always go see a licensed tax professional. They're going to save you more money than they're going to cost you. They're going to give you peace of mind and let you sleep at night. They also have errors and omissions insurance. So if they make a mistake, they got to pay the piper, not you. Doesn't that sound like it's worthwhile? Sure does. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell, and we're going to be talking about tomorrow's dentistry today. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently, wow, get this, 104 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. And I can certainly say sunny Southern California. Well, you know, you talk about hot. We have got the hottest dentist in the Inland Empire just waiting in the wings for us. Let's not make him wait any longer. I have no idea what he really wants to talk about today. But let's get our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell in here to talk about tomorrow's dentistry today. Hey, Steve, welcome aboard. Here we are on a Friday afternoon, kibitzing again.
Hi, Bob. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good. You know, my teeth are fresh, they're clean, they're smooth, they're shiny. I don't know how that happened. I just stopped by your office with my wife the other day, and boom, we left there with sparkling smiles.
Well, you know, Bob, it's amazing. Yeah, well, it was really great to have you guys come by, and it's always good to see Mar. We like to see you, too, but it's always great seeing Mar.
Yeah, go ahead. Hurt my feelings. I don't care.
You feel the same way. Don't even go there.
She's prettier than I am.
Yeah, it's funny, what, by doing that, you'd be surprised. Last time we talked a little bit about what happens if you don't go to the dentist, some of the side effects, and I didn't realize that I had just barely scratched the surface on the possibilities of what can go wrong if you have an active infection in your mouth. You don't just come in and get your teeth cleaned. Do you realize that, last time we talked about the relationship with cardiovascular disease, you can have a heart attack or stroke. We talked a little bit about the association with diabetes and the problems with pregnancy. But I just was reading an article today, and they're talking about that there's a correlation between, and here's the thing, it isn't like gum disease causes these things. It's just that the bacteria that are in gum disease that we find in the mouth that are running rampant, if not under control, will be found in the same sort of situation where you're going to have cardiovascular disease. They're found in larger numbers with people that have problems with pregnancy. But they're also finding a correlation with Alzheimer's. You didn't even know getting your teeth cleaned was going to keep you smarter.
Well, you know what? I think, I come in every 3 months to get my teeth cleaned, thanks to you, and I think maybe I should be coming in every week.
Yeah, I'd have you come in, but I keep forgetting your appointment. But it's along the same line. But there's also pancreatic cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
Rheumatoid arthritis, as well as fertility issues. Now, we're a little past that. And knee osteoarthritis. These are all things that have been in the literature that have been linked to having out-of-control oral infections. I was just floored because, I knew the ones that I was talking about are pretty well known that with the diabetes problems and some of the others, and I stress that with my patients all the time. But this one just kind of blew me away how many other things seem to be linked to having oral disease.
So that could be the primary, or I suppose the first place where you can identify that you've got a potential problem?
Well, if you have an infection in your mouth, obviously the guy that you're going to want to see is going to be your dentist. Even if you happen to show up at your ear, nose, and throat guy, he's going to take a look and go, yeah, you need to go see your dentist.
Yeah.
And that's really the key. And so many of the times people are going, but my mouth doesn't hurt. Well, gum disease isn't painful until your teeth are really loose. You've got really big infections, and when you breathe on people, they start fainting. And so, at that point, you've got a real problem. But it's all about prevention. That's really where dentistry has gone today. Why wait for the big problems that everybody's afraid of? Everybody thinks of things like root canals or surgery or something like that. We don't need to go there. Just go in, get your teeth cleaned, get checked out, do the little things before they become the big thing. And that's easy to say because, fear is the thing. Everybody talks about, well, I don't have dental insurance, or, I can't afford to go, or whatever else. I've got my $49 special. You can come in, you can get an examination, get your x-rays, get your teeth cleaned, cost you less than $50.
And when you leave, you can still eat, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You're not in pain. But if you take care of these things, you head off the big problems. But fear is the big factor. And there's something about having some strange, like me, 6'4" guy, who's now in your space. If we're this close together on a bus bench, we're both uncomfortable. And now I'm sticking things in your mouth where nobody has put anything in your mouth you didn't want since mom was feeding you. And so and even then it wasn't sharp, pointy, or make noises.
Wait a minute, Steve. I just can't let you slide right by that. So you haven't enjoyed putting anything in your mouth since your mom was feeding you?
No.
Is that what you said?
I didn't say that. I said that, no, you didn't enjoy having anybody else put something in your mouth since mom was feeding you, yes.
All right, you can go on now.
There you go. Thank you, Bob. So there basically is nothing normal about that. So, and we realize that. And so as a result, we could do a lot of things to help people get over their phobias. The biggest part of any kind of fear, of course, is the fear of the unknown. You just don't know what you're up against. You're sure you're going to die. All your friends have told you that, it's the worst thing that ever happens. And I get so many patients, they come in and go, that was it? Yeah, that was it. What did you do? Oh, we just did the start for a crown, or we just made you a new crown, or we did a filling, or heaven forbid, we had to pull a tooth out. We did whatever it is that we had to do. And they go, really? I didn't feel anything. I thought I was going to be suffering. It was so easy.
Well, Steve, I've mentioned to you before that, I have a high tolerance for pain, but dentists have always just scared me to death. And the truth be known, and I come into your office every 3 months, and you're right, I don't feel anything, and I'm almost embarrassed sometimes. Janet's cleaning my teeth, and she's doing all this stuff, and I'm falling asleep.
Well, yeah, and that's so typical. We get a lot of that, especially after you've been coming in for a little while. My staff is great. Everybody, Janet's super. Adri's is the sweetest person you could ever meet. And, we have, everybody really cares. I care, and I make sure everybody else does. And so, we understand that, what we're doing just isn't normal, even though we do it every day. And so we take care of people that are nervous in a special way. And so many times we have patients that, will lose their insurance, or be transferred to another dentist, move out of state. And people will go like, oh, no, we're coming back to you because, there's nobody else that, will take as good a care of us. I wouldn't have anybody else do it. Yeah. Had a patient in today. He lives in China. He's a missionary over there, and he goes like, well, I wouldn't have anybody else do this. I come all the way back. He visits his family. That's how he found me to begin with. But he plans these dental trips around these trips to the United States.
Absolutely. Going to the doctor is tax deductible.
There you go. I hadn't even thought about that. But and the thing is too is I can treat him even better.
I bet he's disappointing you can do a crown in 45 minutes. He'd rather have.
I was just going
days.
There. Because I had a situation, and I'm going to actually see him tomorrow morning. We're going to actually, I'm in the office on Saturday occasionally, and we'll see him. And I had done a filling previously before I got my new CEREC machine, and because of his schedule, I had to fill something that I would have much rather done a crown on. And I told him, it just didn't work that great with a filling. I was trying to do too much. You need to come see me tomorrow. And he says, well, it's so great if I can do that this weekend because I got to leave Sunday and then I'm out of here. He says it would be very inconvenient to be able to do this anywhere else. And so he's going to come by. We'll be able to make him a custom restoration that will fix his problem. He'll be done in an hour. It'll be awesome.
That's just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. The fact that, the convenience of that for your patients is just unbelievable. And the whole thing today is they talk about painless dentistry. Well, no, who the hell wants painful dentistry? Nobody does. But the truth is it is painless dentistry today, isn't it?
It can be. And I really think that there's, for the practitioner that really cares to try and deliver a pain-free experience, it isn't that hard to do anymore. We've got every kind of thing, and I'm on all of them trying to pay attention to what I think is going to give me the best results with the least amount of discomfort. And, I've come up with little techniques for anesthesia so that I can deliver that in a way that's pain-free. And we believe nobody ever says that, it was just too numb and we didn't get enough pain, So I love it. If a little's good, a lot's a little better. So we make really sure everybody's really numb. But I can still do that in a way. We have options where you're numb, but you're not going to be numb all day. I'm doing a little procedure. You don't need to be numb for 4 hours.
Yeah.
You'll be numb for an hour, hour and a half, and that's it. And we have a lot of things now with the newer things where I don't have to make the hole any bigger. You came in with a hole. It's clean. All I got to do is fill it in. You've chipped off a corner. Whatever. I don't need to numb that up and drill on it. I just need to put it back.
Yeah.
And we do that now. And without anesthetic, without any need to cause any kind of discomfort, patients are going like, wow, this is great. It was like it was never there and I didn't feel anything. Yeah, no problem.
I just think it's really fascinating. One of these days on the show, I would like to talk to you about a group that we both belonged to for quite a while, and it was a charity group, and that was Missions to Baja. And you and I, along with a lot of other people, used to fly down to the Vizcaíno Desert and render help to the poor people of Baja, California, and down in Mexico. And I'd love for one of these shows for us to talk about that.
I think that'd be great. I'd love to spend some time talking about that. You want to do it now?
No, I don't want to. I don't want to necessarily do it now because I got my head going someplace else when we come back from this break. We got about a minute and a half before we go on a commercial break. But I wanted to just sort of clue you in and let you know that that was kind of where my head was going.
I'd love to. I was so excited about being able to do that. What we did was just a wonderful way to get back.
Oh yeah, I will say this. I got talked into going. It was a payback thing, and basically when I came back and my wife was asking me how it was, I couldn't tell her because every time I think about what was going on there, I just started weeping. I couldn't tell her because of the tears. It was just devastating.
It really was. That was really one of the most gratifying times of doing dentistry that I've ever had. That was great, and it was such a rewarding experience, and it was such a great setting for that as well.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, I should plug myself a little bit.
Good idea.
TidwellDentistry.net. That's how you find me. I'm in Rancho Cucamonga at 909-944-7308, and San Bernardino at 909-881-3336.
Hey, before we got 20 seconds. Listen, did you ever use laughing gas?
I did that for a short time. I only had one patient that would ever do it, and he was the kid that lived over the back fence, and he was kind of an herbalist. He enjoyed smoking funny things, and he was the only one that ever really would use the stuff.
So does this sound familiar then?
That's him.
All right. We're going to be right back with our own Dr. Stephen Tidwell and tomorrow's Dentistry Today. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Hey, you want to have some fun? Let's go to the dentist. Well, you know what? All kidding aside, going to the dentist can be a great, I was going to say opportunity. It's not really an opportunity, but a great
it's
experience.
funny you say that, Bob. But kids these days have not ever been hurt going to the dentist, and they aren't nearly as intimidated. I find the younger generation just isn't as intimidated by far about going to the dentist. Because when we were kids, we went through some modest torture. When you get to have a little silver in your hair, or like you and I, we're starting to lose some of it.
Yeah.
It gets to where, we can remember back when it wasn't nearly as much fun.
Well,
but, kids these days, we have kids specialists and these guys run around and they go around their office on their hands and knees and look at what the kids see. And if it isn't fun, they change it.
Well, that's smart.
It is.
That's smart. I got to tell you, because I already mentioned that I was at your office last Tuesday, and actually I was there with my wife. We both had appointments. And when she left, she was all excited. I said, what are you so excited about? She says, well, I've got to come back next Tuesday. I says, you're excited about that? What's going on? She says, I'm going to get a new crown. I says, you're going to get a what? She said, I'm going to get a new crown, and I don't have to wait weeks for it. I'm going to go in and walk out with it.
Well, and your wife, bless her heart, is so special because she's, she just really can struggle with normal dental procedures. She's a petite lady. She doesn't have a lot of room for me to work, and we used to struggle a lot. We've had to make special accommodations for her, and we have, and it's turned what used to be a pretty tough experience into a relatively pleasant thing. And now with my new CEREC machine where I can make my crown on the spot, she's going like, you mean I don't have to get that impression tray in there and stretch my mouth out of shape? I mean, I don't have to wear that stupid plastic temporary for 3 weeks? This is great. I'm going to get a crown in one appointment. I can't wait. This is super.
Well, I've been married to that woman for 50 years. I've made a lot of accommodations, and I can tell you this, dynamite comes in small packages.
Yeah, I've seen that look in her eyes when they flash. You're going like, oh man.
When you see that look, Steve, you want to take a step back.
Yeah, you want to definitely take a step back. Yeah, she may be small, but the teeth are sharp. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of the special things about your practice, and you are so cognizant of people's feelings and their fears, and you just put them at ease. And you talk about modern dentistry, tomorrow's dentistry today. That's exactly what you get in your office. You're just up on everything. And I'm not saying that other dentists don't try to keep up either, but you're actually applying this stuff. And you've got this new equipment in your office all the time. You're always doing something to make the experience for your patient a good one.
Well, it's our best effort to try and make everybody comfortable. And then the other thing, too, is to stay up with the services that people need. I know people that tend to annoy their spouses all night by snoring. And we happen to have even devices that we can use that it's not surgical. You just place it whenever you feel like you need to.
I have to tell you a story. I actually saved someone's marriage when I was in practice. Yeah. I actually saved their marriage, and she was just fit to be tied. They just couldn't stand it anymore. The husband was he would snore and just peel the paint off the walls. And I said, you know what? You need to go see my dentist, because nobody snored worse than I snored. And I went in there and I refer to it as a snore guard, but I think they call it nightlife or quiet
silent night.
Yeah, silent night. And the moment you fitted me for that, and I put that on at night, it reduced my snoring. It eliminated my snoring. And the alternative is you get separate bedrooms, but the case that I'm talking about, and it's an honest to God true case, they were going to separate. They just flat out couldn't stand it anymore. And he did go. He did get it. And for years, he would just thank me for sending him over.
Well, and it's just not that unusual. I have every one of those times that I've made that kind of an appliance for someone, they've all been so happy. And, and there's even medical things that go with that. A lot of people that are severe snorers are also sometimes will have sleep apnea. Mm-hmm. And there are devices like this that, not only eliminates your snoring, but also decrease your problem with sleep apnea. And you talk about a serious systemic problem.
Yeah.
Sleep apnea, we're talking total health mess up, because it'll cause heart problems. If you're not getting it inhibits your sleep. And when you inhibit your sleep, you don't produce the hormone that tells your body you're full, after you've been eating. So people that have sleep apnea gain too much weight. Well, when you gain more weight, it makes it tougher to keep your airway open when you're sleeping. You sleep in a worse position. And it snowballs. It can actually result in losing your driver's license because you fall asleep just any time, and it's not a good thing to be driving asleep. Or even death. It's crazy the things that'll happen just from, you think, I just snore. Well, go get a sleep study and you find out it's a lot bigger issue than that.
Yeah. How much, just because we're into the conversation, because I found I've lost 60 pounds over the...
And you look good, too, let me tell you.
Thank you. And I also lost the snoring, which was really, really terrific. And but how much of sleep apnea and how much of the snoring is a direct cause, like I had, of being overweight?
Well, like I said, it's a snowball thing where you're overweight and you start snoring, and then that causes you to lose that hormone to help you quit, to help you know when to stop eating, and then you gain more weight, you snore more, you get more sleep apnea. It gets worse and worse. So it's a little chicken and the egg thing. People that are overweight are a little more susceptible for sleep apnea, but if you have sleep apnea, you're going to be overweight. So it's like, it's very much interrelated. Chicken and the egg, I don't know which one's first, Bob.
I don't even care.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's very interesting. And here's what I found even most interesting is that I really thought it was a physical problem. Well, I guess it was a physical problem, but I thought it was something that I was going to need to have surgery or something like that on my throat or the back of my mouth. And the truth is that your first stop should be your dentist.
It really should, because, if you do an appliance and it doesn't work, we haven't done anything to you. We're just giving you something you would wear. We're not changing your teeth. We're not surgically altering your body. All we're doing is letting you wear this thing. And all that happens is your mouth opens, it protrudes your jaw forward just a little bit. So the further you open, the more protruded you come forward, and that doesn't allow your tongue to flop back and start you snoring.
Yeah, and we want to tell people when you talk about appliance, people their minds start wondering what it is. This is nothing more than like a mouthpiece, a mouth guard, like you'd wear if you were playing football. It's this is not uncomfortable. It takes a little bit of adjustment, but it's not uncomfortable at all.
Well, and especially after you've been wearing it for a little while, and you find that not only you're not snoring, but you're sleeping better,
and you get up and you're not tired.
Yeah, exactly. And so, it's kind of like, well, I can put up a little bit of this for that kind of a feeling. I'll do that. My wife still loves me, and I wake up refreshed. Hey, this isn't all bad.
Yeah. It's an amazing thing, and it just seems like such a simple solution. And I don't understand why more people. I'm guessing. I'll bet you that you don't do very much of that because people don't know.
It's funny. I don't do as much as I should, and part of it is me. Part of it is that sleep apnea kind of goes through phases. People will talk about it. This new Fitbit thing, that you put on your wrist, actually is kind of cute because
I'm not familiar with that at all.
People start looking at that. It tells you how you were sleeping. And if you're restless or if you're waking up a lot during the night, a lot of times that reflects a sleep apnea problem.
So I'm not familiar with that at all. What can you describe it a little bit?
Oh, it's the new Apple. The new Apple looks like a watch. It's a little. I don't know how many colors. The only one I saw was black, and it's just a small little watch thing. And then it shows on your smartphone or your iPad or whatever it happens to be connected to. It gives you a rundown of how many steps you've walked through the day, of how much exercise, how many calories, all this kind of thing, all the stuff that's gone on in your day, and as well as it'll even talk to you a little bit about, it'll even show your sleep patterns, how many hours you slept, whether you were restless, did you wake up, when, how often, all this kind of thing. It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
You just wear it like a watch.
That's what I need, something else to wear, right?
Exactly. And sometimes, there's some of this sort of stuff, it gets sort of crazy. It's kind of like, it's the way I feel a little bit about Twitter. Sometimes you just can know too much,
There's days when I turn my phone on, because I charge my phone all night long, and I turn it off because I just don't want to be bothered at night. And so I turn it on in the morning, and everything comes alive, and Twitter is one of those things that comes up, and I've got all these followers, and it just drives me nuts. And I'm tempted sometimes to discontinue it, but of course I can't, because it's how I contact people. But
yeah. Well, you have to stay in touch with the world, but
and drives you nuts.
And the nice part about it, at least for 8 hours a day, I let somebody else answer the phone, so that makes life a little easier.
Well, yeah, but that's because you're busy. You got your hands in somebody else's mouth.
Well, yeah, and
You ever thank God that you're not a proctologist?
Answer the phone.
Hey, did you ever thank God that you're not a proctologist?
Oh, I always say I thank God that I don't have to work for a living. I grew up on a cattle ranch, where you had to dig ditches and chase cows around and all that sort of stuff. It's air conditioned comfort, and I'm lifting little dental instruments. I'm going like, yeah, I'm glad I don't have to work for a living.
Well, Steve, before I turn you loose for the weekend, why don't you go ahead and give out that contact information one more time?
I'm at TidwellDentistry.net. Dr. Stephen Tidwell. I'm in Rancho Cucamonga at 909-944-7308, just across from Alta Loma High School. And in San Bernardino, I'm at 909-881-3336. I'm just off Hospitality Lane at Waterman.
Hey, Steve, terrific. Have a wonderful, safe weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bob, thanks again. Good talking to you.
All right, take care. Now, don't go away. When we come back from these brief commercial messages, we're going to be talking to our own Sean LaFave. I think this is day 4 for this guy. And we're not going to be talking about the Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to be talking about current events. Actually, I don't know what we're going to be talking about, but I'm sure that the time is going to go fast because it always does with this guy. So don't go away. We'll be right back, and you don't want to miss what Sean has to share with you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:07 p.m. Pacific time. Get ready for this. The temperature's gone down. It's only 103 degrees right now in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California on its way to 71 degrees. Now, you know, you talk about hot bods. That's what's waiting for us in the wings. Our own Sean LaFave. Usually I would introduce him. I'm going to do it again anyway for his Geared for Wellness Corner. But Sean and I are going to just talk about current events and whatever reaches our mind. But let's not waste any more time talking about what we're going to talk about. Let's get him in here and talk about it.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Saving my cookies. I had a kind of an emergency situation with our attorney, David Garrett, And as usual, the guy I count on just came flying to my aid. So I want to thank you for that right up front.
Well, I love being on your show, so it's the pleasure is all mine. I'm happy I could be here today.
Oh, I'm really pleased that you're here. So, hey, listen, were you involved in athletics when you were a kid?
Oh, I was a little bit, but not really a whole lot. I did a little bit of track and field when I was in high school, and I was okay at it, but not really good. And actually, the only time I played sports that I was actually good was around the time that I was in like 6th and 7th grade. I played for like a little private flag football league, and I actually did really well. I was a safety and a running back, and I was actually pretty good at it. I was fast and squirrely, but I don't know what happened to me now. But I did a little bit, not much.
How about the Olympics? Do you like watching athletic events? Do you ever watch the Olympics?
I like to watch the Olympics. It depends on the events, but and it's funny because I if people who know me, you see me, I'm just an average guy. I'm not I like my cowboy boots and my cowboy hat.
Yeah, but you're not a flabby guy. You carry yourself well. So I've always thought in terms of you as being kind of an athletic type guy.
And I after now in my 20s was different. I did bodybuilding and I did powerlifting and I never did competitive cycling, but I used to ride bicycle a lot and I really enjoyed that. But the only sports that I competed at that I was actually good at least other than the little time when I was in football at 13 years old, was bodybuilding and powerlifting, and I did really well in both of those. But you know what? I don't watch sports. I don't watch football. I don't watch baseball, basketball, any of that stuff. And I know this is going to sound really weird, but I actually enjoy. I don't play golf, but I enjoy watching it on TV. And in the Olympics, I enjoy stuff like I enjoy the gymnastics. I enjoy figure skating. I enjoy some of the other stuff too, the wrestling and the whatever else. But I tend to lean more towards the individual sports more than the team sports.
Yeah, you and I are a lot alike that way. I'm pretty much the same way. I was leading up to ask you if you'd ever pictured yourself on a Wheaties box. You know, the Wheaties cereal? Do you know how they put the athletes on the face of a Wheaties box?
Oh, of course I did. Back when there was we used to have a guy from our country that used to live here. His name was Bruce Jenner. You may have heard of him, but apparently he's not around anymore.
Caitlin?
But
I know his sister.
Yeah. His sister Caitlin apparently is making the news a lot now, but I remember him on the Wheaties box, and man, I tell you what, I remember when I was a kid, I was running through the mall and I was jumping over trash cans, doing hurdles and stuff, and jumping over benches, and I was like full. I don't know what I was running for, but I was having a great time, and one of the security guards, I was on the main floor, the security guard up on the second floor leans over the railing and says, "Hey, Bruce Jenner, slow down."
Well, would you be surprised to find out that General Mills, who makes Wheaties, is now going to, besides having the breakfast of champions, they're going to have the beer of champions. They're coming out with a 16-ounce can of beer that's it's Wheaties.
Wheaties beer.
Wheaties beer, 16-ounce beer. It's going to, I was astounded to see this. I honestly don't know what the relationship is to Wheaties, the cereal, because they always call it the breakfast of champions. I suppose Billy's beer. Remember
Jimmy Carter's brother?
Yeah. I suppose I can understand that, but Wheaties beer, I got a problem. I've got a bit of a problem with that.
That one just kind of boggles my mind. I'm
just not exactly clear what makes Wheaties beer besides being made of wheat. Or hops or whatever it is, I have no idea where they're going with that thing. I just can't even figure out how they're going to market that. You'd think that would destroy all the years of being the breakfast of champions, right?
You would think so, but I don't know. Maybe people are kind of. I don't know that people really look at Wheaties and go, "Oh, this is a great health food." Maybe they do. Maybe there are still people out there who look at things like
no,
Wheaties
but I think that's the way they sold it. The truth is, I never liked Wheaties.
Yeah, Wheaties was fine. I ate it as a kid. It was okay. I mean, I probably put sugar on it though too, but I don't remember. I remember eating it probably I thought it was good simply because it had Bruce Jenner on it. I really, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there now that would like create something else with Caitlyn Jenner. I don't even want to go there. I don't know what I'm even saying right now. But I liked Wheaties as a kid, but I like the cornflakes and I like the sugary stuff too. And what I really liked as a kid, and I have no idea why we're talking about this, but it was grape nuts. I loved grape nuts, and I still do.
Oh, I never liked grape nuts. It was hard.
If they made a grape
teeth.
nuts beer, I would try that. Maybe they should make. I wish they would make grape nuts bourbon. That would be awesome.
Oh, now you're talking. But here's the thing. I used to like Kellogg's rice cereal. Those Snap, Crackle, and Pop. Now my problem is I'm so old now that when I get out of bed, that's what I hear: Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
You have cereal on the way to the bathroom.
So, hey, listen, I got one more for you, and it was just I found it astounding, and it was a headline in the news that I caught. And I think it's going to get you too. I want to get a. I don't know if I should say. We've got 3 minutes before we go to a commercial break. I don't know if I should say this. You're going to get
me wound up, aren't you? You're going to be all wound up, and then you tell me I got to be quiet for 2.5 minutes. All right, go ahead.
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to lay this thing out. We're going to go on an early commercial break, and then I'm going to get you all wound up about it when we come back. How's that sound?
That's fair.
Huh?
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's a fair deal. So here's the thing. Yeah. Can humans live forever? At least one scientist thinks it's possible. Now, I'm going to tell you about this when we come back from this commercial break, and I'm going to have our own Sean LaFave give his opinion. So don't go away.
All right. I already got an answer about it, so I'm excited for this one. This will be fun.
All right. Then I can't wait. Don't give it now. I can wait. Everybody's going to have to wait till we come back from these brief messages. Don't go away. We'll be right back with my good buddy, Sean LaFave.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner, except we're just talking to Sean about anything that comes to mind today. Now, before we went on our break, when we went a little bit early, I asked John, I said, can humans live forever? And I told him at least one scientist actually thinks it's possible. Scientist Aubrey de Grey believes that medical advances in the coming years will be able to undo years of molecular and cellular damage to the body and could stop the aging process. Now, de Grey is a biomedical gerontologist with the SINS Research Foundation that deals in regenerative medicine and the prevention of aging. At a recent conference, he attributed the gains in longevity over the last century to one primary factor, the reduction of infectious disease. Sean? What do you think? Are we going to get older? Are we going to get younger? Are we going to die sooner? Are we going to die later? Are we going to die at all?
Well, I think it's going to be a long time before we're going to live forever. It's going to make sense forever. But, it's funny. If you want to, I'm going to go ahead and first approach this from a kind of almost a religious point of view.
Well, before you go to that, let me say this. I don't want to live forever. I don't want to live any longer than I can live and have a productive life. If I have to be a burden on someone, I would rather not be here.
And that's the key, I think, what they're talking about there is it's not that we can live forever. A lot of people live to be 90 years old and they should have died 7, or 20 years before that. But my own dad, obviously last year, he died, and we talked about it on the radio, on your radio show, and really, his life was just, his quality of life was so poor the last probably 2 or 3 years that he was alive. It was just, and he was a huge burden on my mom, especially the last year and a half, 2 years almost, but his quality of life, the things that he used to love to do, go out trap and skeet shooting, and he used to fix things. He was one of those guys that used his hands, for a living, fix clocks and watches and guns. And, he could no longer do all that. Glaucoma, and he just got weak, and his hands got shaky. And so, the quality of life is definitely got to be factored into that. Nobody wants to live past the point where they can no longer take care of themselves. And, if you look at, let's just take the Bible, and I'm going to use it as a scholarly reference here, not as a religious kind of thing, but, initially people were supposed to live forever. That's historically, if you want to use the Bible as a history book, the theory was we were supposed to live forever. Man sinned, of course, and ate the apple, which was supposed to lead to death. And after that, like Adam and Eve lived to be like 900 and something 1,000 years old. And, the lifespan got shorter and shorter over time. And so whether people really lived to be 1,000 years old back then, or if they were supposed to live forever, or if that was just a fairy tale or a fable or what, I don't know. But theoretically, there was a time when we were not supposed to ever die. And but we know now that we have in our DNA sequence, at the end of our DNA strand, there's these things called telomeres. And the telomere is kind of like, on your shoelaces, on your shoe, there's that little plastic thing on the end that keeps them from unraveling. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's called, but whoever invented it, I'm sure made a great...
Yeah, so it wouldn't shred, right?
Yeah, so the telomere is at the end of your DNA strand, and it does exactly what that does. It stops the DNA from unraveling. Well, at the time you're conceived, these telomeres are 15,000 nucleotides long. I don't know what a nucleotide looks like, but it's pretty tiny. Okay, obviously because it's the end of your DNA, so it's pretty tiny. I don't even know what they're related to, but at least we've got a reference to go off of. So we have 15,000 nucleotides at the time you're conceived. By the time now, every time your cell splits, that telomere shortens just a little bit, and so by the time that you're born, 9 months later, your cells have split and replicated themselves so many times that those nucleotides went from 15,000. Those telomeres went from 15,000 nucleotides in length down to 10,000. So you're born, your nucleotide or your telomere is 10,000 nucleotides.
So what you're saying is every time a cell replenishes itself, because you're always recreating these cells, that it creates a weaker link in the DNA because it's got to come from somewhere, right?
Right, that telomere at the end of your DNA strand shortens just a little bit every time your cells split and replicate themselves. And so what happens now over the span of your life, that goes from 10,000. By the time it gets down to 5,000, so half of what you're born with, that's pretty much when the DNA can no longer hold itself together. It becomes unraveled, and the person dies at that point. That's when a person dies. If you could take their cells, you'll see that pretty much everybody is right around 5,000 nucleotides in length for their telomeres.
So it's because you lose the ability to regenerate. That's what's going on, right?
Yeah, exactly. You lose the ability to regenerate, and there's other degenerative processes that go along the way. But what they're discovering, and there's a guy in Nevada. With Reno, he's up in the Reno area. I don't know if he's got a huge lab up there, and his name is Bill Andrews. And Bill he is one of the leading research scientists, doctors on this. Matter of fact, his team discovered the telomere protein structure back in, I want to say it was the 90s or something like that. So he was
really not that long ago.
Yeah, no, wasn't they? Yeah, they didn't know what they discovered them not too long ago. So his team was the team that discovered these telomeres, and we figured out what the telomeres do, how they work, and so what they're doing now is they're actually trying to figure out how do we stop these things from getting any shorter, and even beyond that, how can we get them to even lengthen?
Okay, so stop for just a second. Because if I'm hearing you correctly, if we stop them from getting any shorter, then we've stopped regeneration also, which means you're going to die.
No, we get to the point where when your cell regenerates, the length of the telomere doesn't change; it stays the same.
Well, yeah, but doesn't unless I was misunderstanding, when the cell regenerates and that little part of that DNA goes in there, a part of that telomere goes with it, which means that you're always depleting a microscopic portion of that telomere. And if you stop taking that part, then the cell that does split off and regenerate, the DNA has nothing to hold it together.
No, it carries it separate. It splits. It regenerates itself or rebuilds itself, and it rebuilds that telomere as well. And so you've got a new telomere with that new cell structure, and that new telomere is exactly the same length as the one that came from the original cell that it split off from. So the cell basically replicates itself exactly the same as it was before without any degeneration at all. And now they've been able to do that successfully, but the problem, he said, and I've actually talked to this guy, and he is an amazing individual. It was actually kind of funny. I was driving. Most people don't even know what a telomere. Anyone who's listening to this show, I would be surprised if there was one or two people who even knew what a telomere was. And I'm driving down the Laguna Canyon Road here in right outside of Laguna Beach, or actually in Laguna Beach, and I'm driving out of Laguna Beach, and I see this car in front of me, and it has a personalized license plate that says telomere on it. I thought, wow, I don't know who this person is, but telomere technology is the future of anti-aging. And I literally was like some woman and her daughter. There was like a woman like she was probably like in her 40s, 50s, somewhere around there, and she had her like adult daughter with her. And I chased them down until I could finally get them at a red light. I actually followed them, and I pulled up next to her, and I'm like waving, and her daughter was like, "Mom, some crazy guy in a Jeep is waving at you."
You got to stalk her, Mom.
Yeah, and I said, hey, your license plate says telomere. She started laughing. She said, yeah, I know. I said, are you in the field of genetics? And she goes, no, but my husband is. I said, oh my God, can I talk to you, please? I would love to just talk to you. Can we pull over? And she's totally thinking, what a crazy guy. But she did. She pulled over and she said, here's my husband's card. And I called him, and he's a great guy. And so he's doing all this research. He said the problem is, he goes, when we get it to the point where we can stop the telomere from shortening, what we end up with is cancer. And he goes, the problem is getting the cells to perpetually generate at the same level without taking on some form of disease. And so it's that, like the key there, what you're talking about in the article, they're talking about stopping the infectious disease. So if you can keep the infectious disease, if you can keep the cancer at bay, and you can get the cell to replicate and not shorten the telomere, then theoretically we can live forever. And that's a crazy, scary thought, really.
Yeah, it really is. And then we go back to the beginning of our conversation, actually, in this case, Sean, and that is that what quality of life do you have? Do you have all your facilities? Do you have all your capacity? Are you able to use logic and think and speak? And are you ambulatory? Are you otherwise healthy? Or are you fighting other diseases? There's an awful lot of that goes into it. I don't know that I certainly know one thing. I don't want to outlive my kids.
And that's it. Yeah, you don't want to watch everybody that you've ever cared about, die, and then you're still alive 200 years later, and you watch more people die. You find other people you care about and watch them. Certainly, we don't want to be like take the vampire scenario where they live forever and with a broken heart kind of thing, but. We don't want that, but that's the whole point of why they're doing this research, is trying to get to where we can replicate our bodies. Our body can replicate its cells without the degenerative process, without the loss of the telomere structure, but also stay free of disease and be able to still build muscle mass and still be able to function and not be weak. And that's obviously the key. Nobody wants to live forever. If you live in a state where who wants to use a walker for the next 500 years?
Yeah.
So
it wouldn't be my first choice.
What's that?
I say it would not be my first choice.
No, it wouldn't be my first choice either. And it's talking about the telomeres. For the life of me, I can never remember the name of this disease.
Well, I've got to tell you something. First of all, if that was my wife that you were chasing down, and she actually stopped to talk to you, I'd beat her on the side of the head, for God's sakes.
I'm a sweet guy. My sweet, innocent face.
A total stranger.
Well, when someone actually knows what a telomere is, probably they're such a geek that they're pretty harmless anyway. So, what are the odds? But I thought about that. I was like, gosh, I don't know if I should. Well, I was so excited to see someone who not only knew what a telomere was, but put it on their license plate. Like that's got to be someone who this is a passion in their life, and I had to talk to her.
Well, the interesting thing is that she didn't know. It was her husband that was really in the industry, so I suppose he must be talking a lot about it because it rubbed off. She was able to talk to you about it.
Oh yeah, she was able to talk to me, and I told her, I said, well, your husband is doing this so amazing. She says, yes, this is the future of health, of anti-aging. It's not just anti-aging; it's preventing the degenerative process of the body. And again, I don't know what the name of this disease is, but those children that are born and even as little children, they look like little old men. Their skin's all wrinkly.
Oh yes.
Those children are born with with very little telomere left. If you take those kids and you get a scoop of their DNA and you test it, their telomeres at birth aren't 10,000. It's probably more like 7,000.
So they were born prematurely old.
Yeah, they were born. DNA structure of them was born with the same DNA structure of someone who's 70 or 80 years old.
Oh, my.
That's why they look like they're 70 or 80 years old. And so that's why they age so fast. They don't live. I don't even think most of them would even be like maybe teenagers at best. That's about as good as it's going to get. They age so fast.
And so the prognosis for people with that disease, I'm guessing, is not good.
No, yeah, it's they live, I want to say, like 10, 12 years. That's pretty much it, maybe less than that.
Well,
it's not because they've aged so fast in the womb that they come out looking like they're already old, but just a really tiny version. And then when as they grow, they don't usually ever reach like full size. You know, they don't grow up to be. I don't think any of them ever grow to be full size adults. Yeah, but it's all because of their telomere structure. That's exactly what is the link there. Is that we know that the telomeres have something to do with that, and why it is that their telomeres have shortened so much in utero. That's the big, you know, kind of the.
So have they isolated, you know, all of the diseases, you know, cancer and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all these things? Have they isolated it to the depletion of telomeres? It's not really part of the other genes that are inside your DNA as part of the telomere?
No, now when you start talking about cancer and stuff, that now you're talking. That's still in your genetic structure, but it's not directly a result from the telomere. You have your genetic structure that makes you who you are, but then you have the epigenetic structure that is means just above. Epigenetic means just above the genome, and your epigenetic structure is actually the part of your genetic structure that can be changed. There are parts of it that can be turned on and turned off. Everything from obesity gene to, you know, the way your body, like your lung and your skin and your kidneys and brain, they all have the same DNA, but the epigenetic structure is twisted just a little bit to make one grow into a lung cell, the other one to grow into a toenail, you know. And so when that epigenetic structure is weakened and it's something like a toxin outside, you know, some sort of environmental toxin or something gets into it, and it turns on a genetic structure that's bad, like cancer, that's when you have those problems. So the key is getting the telomeres to stop shortening and at the same time be able to, what they use is called a methylator, which is a carbon and 3 hydrogens bound together. You put a methyl group into the body that binds to the DNA structure, and it turns on the good epigenetic structure so that you don't get those diseases. So the key is understanding how do we turn on the good epigenetic structure at the same time that we stop the shortening of the telomeres. And obviously,
so
you know,
is that technology? Is that
talent.
Today's technology? Is that here now, or is it just is now being developed?
No, it's here now. We know I use epigenetic sequencing and epigenetic switching with methylation in people all the time. And it's amazing when your epigenetic structure changes and a bad gene is turned on, it can actually be passed on to your children. And so it's important to have that switched even before pregnancy, but that can be switched on, that can be passed on to children. But in the children, if you methylate them properly, you can turn that bad gene back off and express the good genetic expression. It's pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah,
but it is here. It's just figuring out how to get it all to come together in one beautiful orchestration.
That's fascinating. That's really fascinating.
So to end, I believe, yes, it is possible that we can live forever, and I believe it's possible we can live forever disease-free, but I think it's something that's going to take us a long time to figure out, if ever.
And I don't know that a majority of people are going to want to, depending on the quality of life that they have to look forward to.
Right.
All right,
well,
my
Robert,
friend. As usual, fascinating, and I got to tell you, and I'm so sincerely, I want to thank you for filling in today. First of all, I love talking to you on the air, and second of all, I want to make sure that when you hang up, that you go meet somebody, have a cocktail, and relax, and talk to them about telomeres, because you're going to just blow their mind away.
I will do that.
All right. In the meantime, stay safe, stay happy, stay good, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, Robert. You too. Thank you.
All right, my friend. You have a good one. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to talk about the birthdays for today, and we're going to have the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard Business Tip of the Day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific Time. It is currently still 103 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? It's Friday, August the 14th, and it's somebody's birthday. Okay, here's one everybody knows. He was born in 1945, a successful actor who earned many awards. He was well known as the wild and crazy guy of Saturday Night Live. Happy birthday, Steve Martin. And here's another one that most all of you know about. He was born in 1959, retired point guard for the Los Angeles Lakers. He retired after announcing that he had HIV, but returned to win the MVP award. Happy birthday to Magic Johnson. And boy, here is one gorgeous lady, an actress who's received many awards. She's remembered for the unforgettable role as Catwoman. I'm talking about happy birthday to Halle Berry. Boy, she's a beautiful lady, too. What happened today in history? Well, I can tell you that in 1885, Japan's first patent is issued to the inventor of a rust-proof paint. There we go, right? How about in 1908? The first beauty contest is held in Folkestone, England. The first beauty contest, 1908. 1935, United States Social Security Act passes, creating a government pension system for all the retired. Well, it's in danger now. We're going to be talking about it next week. I'll tell you all about it, why we're in danger. Shouldn't be, but I'll tell you all about it. Well, in 2003, wide-scale power blackout took place in the Northeast United States and Canada. You remember that? For those of you that were alive then, I'm sure you do. Now, you know what? Our quote for today comes from one of my favorites, W.C. Fields, and he says, "I never vote for anyone. I always vote against." Well, You know what? If you vote against them, you can't get chastised for creating a problem for us. Well, let's talk about those secret daily teachings for your life. It's all about a positive mental attitude. Let me explain it to you. The secret for today: a fast way to get yourself on the frequency to receive is to say, I am receiving now. I am receiving all the good in my life now. I am receiving, and you fill in what you want. Maybe it's security. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's a new job. Maybe it's satisfaction. Maybe it's recognition. And then feel it. Feel it as though you've already received it. It'll happen. I'm telling you. Absolutely. It'll happen. Well, let's talk about that Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is showing compassion can help employees learn from mistakes. You know, it can be frustrating when an employee is not performing well or makes a mistake. But instead of expressing your stress and the anger and reprimanding the person, a better approach is to show compassion and curiosity. Now, suspending judgment, taking time to understand what happened, and coaching the employee for the future will build loyalty and trust, which can then turn around performance. An angry response, on the other hand, erodes loyalty and trust and inhibits creativity by jacking up the employee's stress levels. So first, get a handle on your emotions. Take time to reflect on how you're feeling so you can give a more thoughtful, reasonable, and discerned response. You want to see the situation with more detachment. Then, put yourself in your employee's shoes. Try to empathize with him or her. Empathy, of course, helps you forgive. And forgiveness strengthens your relationship with your employee by promoting loyalty. I'm telling you, this stuff really works. Well, it's time for our interesting but useless facts. We've got some good ones for you today, so let's get to them. First up, you know, if you live in Michigan, it's illegal to place a skunk in your boss's desk. They're going too far with this, I think. You know, illegal to place a skunk in your boss's desk. It ought to be a right, don't you think? Yeah, I think it ought to be a right, for Pete's sake. How about this? Did you know that 1 out of every 43 prisoners escapes from jail? 94% are recaptured. Yeah. How about this one? A large swarm of desert locusts can consume 20,000 tons of vegetation a day. Now, that is a scary thing, especially if they're after produce, right? Did you know Nobel actually invented dynamite number 1, and ballistite? But when he saw the destruction that it caused, he decided to do something benevolent with all the money that he made. Hence, the Nobel Prize. Isn't that something? Yeah, that is unbelievable. That is just fantastic, I think. Well, let's talk about somebody that a lot of us know. You may not recognize the name, but you know what he created. Jim Henson. He first coined the word Muppet. It is a combination of marionette and puppet, and that's where Muppet came from. Jim Henson. How about this? Airbags are deployed at a rate of 200 miles per hour. Think about that hitting you in the face or hitting you in the chest. And then when airbags are deployed, it creates a real shock to the body. It does save your life, but it also creates some burns because of that explosion. So you want to be careful and hope that you never have to endure that, but be glad that you do have it available if you do get hit head on or in a way that deploys those bags. Did you know that whiteout was invented by the mother of Mike Nesmith, formerly of the Monkees? Yeah, there's something. How about, did you know that none of the Beatles knew how to read music? Paul McCartney eventually taught himself how, but they didn't know how when they were famous, when they were first famous anyway. And let me leave you with this one. Advertisements for coffee in London in 1657 claimed that the beverage was a cure for scurvy, gout, and other ills. Yeah, that's unbelievable, right? I'm going to give you one more. American and Russian space flights have always included chocolate. Yeah. Can't go anywhere without chocolate. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to deal with your emails today. My first email comes from Sabrina Vargas from Grisham, Oregon, asking about the tax treatment of gold. And I'm going to tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So please, don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific Time. Currently, still 103 degrees outside in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire. It's time for me to answer your emails. And like always, I'm going to caution you to always seek the advice of a licensed professional, because the emails that you send me, sometimes the information is a little sketchy. I do the best to answer them for you, but you need to go see a licensed professional. They're going to help you in a lot of ways. First of all, they're going to save you more money than they cost you, and they're going to give you a lot of peace of mind and let you sleep at night. And that's what they do, because one of the requirements of their licensing is that they carry errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they didn't make a mistake when they're guiding you, you don't pay the piper, they do. Keep that in mind. Isn't it nice to know you're not going to get that registered letter or a knock on the door or a tap on the shoulder? Actually, and if you do, you just refer them to that licensed professional. Now, let's get right to it. First email comes from Sabrina Vargas from Grisham, Oregon, asking about the tax treatment of gold and says, I want to buy gold as a safe investment, but I've been told that it doesn't qualify for capital gains tax treatment. Is this true? Well, Sabrina, gold bullion is a collectible upon which the top long-term capital gains tax rate is 28% instead of the normal 15%. Now, the same tax rate applies to gold coins and exchange-traded funds, a form of tradable security that track the price of gold. Now, you can still profit from gold at the 15% long-term capital gains tax rate by investing in gold mining companies or in mutual funds that specialize in holding the stock of such companies. Capital gains realized on their shares is taxed like that on any other corporate shares, but their share prices are highly correlated to the price of gold. So that'll give you the best of all worlds. Next email comes from Semrit Verk from Cortland, New York, asking about gifts of tuition and says, my grandson is about to go to college where the annual tuition is well over $12,000. If I pay it for him, will I be making a taxable gift? Well, Semrit, no. Not if you make the payment directly to the college. Now, generally, gifts exceeding the annual gift tax amount, exempt amount of $12,000 or $13,000 per year per giver to any one recipient must be reported to the giver on a tax return. But payments made on behalf of an individual directly to an educational or medical institution are not deemed to be gifts to the individual and are tax exempt. Now, in fact, you can make them in any amount on behalf of an individual and still give that individual another $13,000 tax-free if you choose to. So write the tuition payment check directly to the college instead of giving the money to your grandchild. Then you get the best of all worlds. Next email comes from Stephen Wortman from Colts Neck, New Jersey, asking about posthumous income and says, my mother died, and I prepared a joint return for that year that her husband actually signed for their taxes. Then, for the next year, I received a 1099 for my mother reporting several $1,000s of income to her. Now, her husband filed a single return for that year. So how do I report this? Well, Stephen, if the income was from a bank or an investment account that her husband or another person inherited through joint ownership or an account beneficiary designation, that person's going to actually owes the tax on it. If the income was paid to your mother's estate and then distributed by will or state law, consult the executor or administrator of the estate. Ask the issuer of the 1099 to, in the future, send 1099s that name the proper recipient, and you should be fine with that. Well, my last email today comes from Mason Zafra from Oceanside, California, asking about inherited property basis, and says, inherited property gets stepped-up basis equal to its market value when it has appreciated in value, but if it has fallen in value, does it get a stepped-down basis? It's a great question, Mason, and the answer is yes. When the owner of a property dies, the property basis, its cost for tax purposes, from which gain or loss on its sale is determined, becomes its market value at the owner's death. If the property has appreciated in value, the basis is stepped up to its appreciated market value, and the taxable gain on appreciation to that date is eliminated. But if the property has fallen in value basis and correspondingly reduced, and deductible capital loss is then eliminated. So here's a strategy for you. Hold appreciated property until death to bequeath it to your heirs. Sell lost property before death to get that deductible capital loss. You'll be glad you did it that way. Trust me, you will be glad you did it that way. Well, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, Live 365 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide, Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows, 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com, where I get all my emails. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, talking about food and wine. My special guest, John Kurth, the Wizard of Words, talking business success through scripting. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.